Previously on my Saturn Return Diary.
It has been a little over a week since the accident, and I surprisingly feel really optimistic and grounded.
Just finished coloring, still trying to do that one creative thing in the morning. For today's Saturn Return Diary, we are spending a long weekend exploring Vila Velha and Vitória. We started the weekend with a hike up Morro de Moreno, and honestly y'all, I was not ready. I love hiking in theory, but I do not do it often enough to not be struggling the entire time. Especially when I travel, for some reason I think I am suddenly a superwoman and I can hike all the mountains and climb all the trees. Thankfully, it was really nice to stay and the view was amazing. We learned on the way down that the mountain is actually named after João Moreno, who would climb to the top of the mountain and signal which types of boats were entering the area during colonization. Our next stop was Faro Santa Luisa, which is a lighthouse that was built over 150 years ago and named by navigator Americo Vespuccio, aka the guy the Americas are named after. After the lighthouse, we grabbed lunch and ended the day at a secret beach. On the next day, we spent the day in Vitoria Centro, which is the most historical neighborhood in Vitoria. The first place we went to was Palacio Anchieta, which is where the governor works, but it also used to be home to a church and a school in the 18th century. During the time that we visited, they were hosting an art exhibit called De Onde Surgem os Sonhos, which translates to Where Do Dreams Emerge From? The exhibit was an interesting mixture of different textures and art forms that reflected each artist's thoughts on their origins in relation to being Brazilian and nature. We also got to tour the other area of the building where the governor works and hosts events during the week. We got to see his office and a variety of rooms that each have a different architectural style and theme, like this gold room that has a lot of Baroque-inspired detail. We also learned a lot about the history of Brazil in the context of colonization and racism throughout the tour. Our guide pointed out this portrait, which was a Eurocentric representation of Brazil that excluded African and indigenous people. She also pointed out the swallow portraits of past Espiritu Santo governors, which only included one black man, Albino Azeredo. After the palace, we visited Catedral Metropolitana. The church took 50 years to build, starting in the 1920s and ending in the 1970s. Next, we visited Parque Moscoso, which opened in 1912. It featured lots of beautiful fountains and trees. As we were about to leave, we stumbled into Ukani, which is the Black History Museum in Vitoria, and we got to watch a samba practice where they were preparing for carnival in the spring. Me and my host sister were super hyped because we had just been talking about wanting to stop by a samba practice soon.